Hey, I'm David Levin, and this is another completely irrelevant episode of Pop Goes the Culture. Welcome to part 2 of my conversation with Dann Bonaduce and his take on the Partridge Family.
How about David in that bunny costume down in Mexico? Do you remember that? He talked a little bit about it.
You know what? I remember. No, see, this is just so funny when you're talking about a guy who was the biggest star in America at the time. And because I don't know if he told you how unhappy he was with the Partridge Family. But this is the biggest star in America. And I don't remember him in the bunny suit nearly as well as I remember him in the chicken suit. They would not give this guy a break. They dressed him up. I think he's dressed as everything on Noah's Ark at one point. Poor guy. I felt bad for him because for some reason, his character evolved, or de-evolved, if you will, into being a bit of a buffoon. And I didn't understand it, and even at my young and tender age, I could see it. I could see that it was happening. I mean, they'd essentially, in some lines, just call him stupid to his face. And the prime example that I remember distinctly is Artie Johnson is playing a criminal who's hiding in our garage. And Shirley Jones walks in, and he's got his hand in his pocket, because, you don't show a gun on TV, and it's a comb anyway, because he's the lovable bandit. But anyway, so Shirley Jones comes in the garage, and he goes, "Are you the only one in the house?" And she goes, yes, I'm the only one in the house. And then Chris and Tracy come in, and he says, "I thought you said you were home alone." She goes, "Oh, I didn't know they were here, really, I didn't know they were here." And then Susan Day walks in, and he says something else, and then I walk in, and he says, "You know what? This is like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All I'm missing is Dopey." And then walks in David, almost skipping. I went, they're calling him stupid to his face. I was probably 13 by then, and I realized how real. I think I said to my mom, I said, "What are they doing to this guy? Why are they doing this to this guy?"
Oh my God! It's got to be a stupid person on every episode.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be the romantic lead. Who makes the romantic lead also the stupid guy? Can you imagine Tom Selleck on Magnum P.I. being an idiot? No.
That's funny. That's funny, but he got the girl all the time. Shirley talked about the episode where he fell in love with the girl who couldn't sing.
Well, I remember that episode. I remember that episode because it caused trouble, not because of any particular thing.
What?
The girl, who I still love, came to work in a completely see-through shirt, and the moms of the children went crazy and went up to the producers and caused a big problem. Said, "Hey, get the slut off the set. Go tell her to put something on. There's children here." And she did. But wouldn't surprise you one bit if that shirt came off 5 minutes later in Cassidy's dressing room.
Check, please.
Sorry.
Well, you had great guest stars on that show, though.
Yeah, we did. I think my personal favorite guest star on the Partridge Family would be Richard Pryor. How do you beat Richard Pryor? Also, Lou Gossett Jr. with hair. All of the original Charlie's Angels were on the Partridge Family.
Really?
Yeah, it was all, like pretty much their break. Farrah Fawcett didn't even have dialogue. She just dropped a bag of something from her groceries in an episode with Henry Morgan. Played, I think the episode was called Whiplash Willie. That's scary. I can't remember one thing about the 80s, but I can remember all of this.
It's working well. So who did Kate Jackson play?
You know what? I don't remember who.
I remember the Farrah Fawcett episode.
Yeah, I forget she was, but she was definitely on there. They were all on there because I remember we made a big deal out of it later that, hey, we had all the Charlie's Angels on, but I don't remember.
Jodie Foster played your girlfriend?
Girlfriend's a strong word. I tried to kiss her and she punched me in the eye, which hardly ever happens from my girlfriends. Well, I've been married 16 years. That never happens from any girlfriend ever, honey. Sorry. But yeah, she played Bert Convey's daughter, and I went to kiss her, and she punched me in the eye and gave me a black eye. And I'll tell you something interesting. I don't know if you'll be interested in this since it's about the Partridge Family or not, Jodie. She was the first real kid actor I ever saw. She wasn't a kid playing a kid. She was an actress playing a kid. She was brilliant. I never saw anything like it. And the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting is if she wasn't acting, she would only speak French. At 7.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was that?
She was learning French, I guess. I don't know. Or she's a freak, one of the two. But I remember watching her work and feeling small. I remember watching Jodie Foster work and thinking, wow, that's acting. I'm just a kid.
How did that manifest itself? In other words, what kind of things was she doing that made you sort of see that it was different than what you guys might have been doing?
It was a sitcom. Let's see. Jodie Foster was a guest on a sitcom at 7 years old and would sell all the jokes. She just had it down. You know, she had it down so well that it looked like she didn't have it down at all. I just really remember feeling inadequate next to her.
Ray Bolger played your grandfather.
Ray Bolger. I believe we had most of The Wizard of Oz on. The Wicked Witch of the West, I believe, played Dave Madden's mother, I believe, and Ray Bolger, the Scarecrow, played my grandfather.
What was that like?
I gotta tell you, when you have the Scarecrow playing your grandfather and the Wicked Witch of the West playing Ruben's mom, and the Scarecrow's part was to drive off in a go-kart, which he did at 1,000 miles an hour, while the Partridge Family bus is over here and David Cassidy's over here. It's just surreal. It's like the craziest life ever. It's gotta be like growing up in the circus, that you're the guy that gets shot out of the cannon every day. That's what it was like.
Do you remember anything about Bolger or Margaret Hamilton?
I remember, I don't remember too much about Margaret Hamilton. I do remember that at first, because it was a go-kart, there were some concerns for me, just, by myself, about his health and his age and being brittle. You couldn't stop this guy. Bolger was everywhere. It was like, he was like people expected me to be. Like, you just had to try and catch him. You just had, oh my God, Bolger's at it again. Somebody go get him. That's what I remember.
You're afraid that you were going to be the show that killed off the Scarecrow.
Yeah, and instead we couldn't slow him down.
Richard Mulligan.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Mulligan.
Yeah, I believe Richard Mulligan played love interest of Shirley Jones again. I think, was he a vet or a doctor?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Real comic genius, that guy.
Yeah.
Man, soap was amazing. Okay, two Chris's. What happened?
I will give you my version of the two Chris story.
It's the Rashomon thing. Everybody's got it over.
Yeah, everybody, absolutely. I'm sure everybody. Well, I think some people want to protect some people remember it different from other people, and some people, maybe me, remember it differently or just don't care. But basically, he was a huge pain in my keister and everybody else's. And aside from being troublesome, every now and again, I just smack the heck out of him. And that didn't go over well with anybody. And pretty soon, to my estimation, one of us had to go, and they picked him. The story that they sold us was his family moved to Wyoming to start some business or some such thing. But I think it's because I kept kicking his butt. And that's the one I want to believe.
Shirley said that in a particular episode, or not in the episode, but when you were doing the thing, that you got a glass of milk and poured it over David Cassidy's head. Do you remember?
No, she's got the story wrong, and I'll tell you why I know for sure. Because really, if you tell me one version of a story I think I know, and I'll believe you. Some 35 years ago, and I was a kid. Nobody poured anything on David Cassidy's hair, ever. Okay? Not a chance, not ever. I believe she's referring to Susan Day getting mad at me and dumping a whole pitcher of milk on my head, of which there is some video footage or film. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I never, believe me. I learned right away. You just don't touch Cassidy's hair. You could tug on this guy's cock, but you couldn't touch his hair. I just wanted to give you that for later.
Did you give the extras? I won't cut that part of the You're turning red, Dan.
Look at me, I am. Okay, I'm good.
You're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's talk a little bit about the music of the Partridge Family. How shocked were you when suddenly, things like I Think I Love You started hitting the charts?
Well, I was surprised when I Think I Love You hit the charts because I hated it. And I thought it was the worst song I ever heard. Some of the Partridge Family music, there were also minor hits. Not like the Partridge Family, I Think I Love You became a hit either December 6th or December 13th, 1970. I just happen to have read that somewhere. 20 years ago. It's amazing what sticks in your head, isn't it? That's probably wrong. I hope that's wrong. I don't want to remember that.
You and I are both about the same age, but like I remember every, like when you guys were on Friday, I remember every Monday, the big conversations would be what happened on Brady Bunch, what happened on Partridge Family, what happened on Odd Couple,
Wow.
I mean, it was just like, and so knowing that, so like here we are talking, like you remember, like yeah, I remember it the same way.
You know what's funny though is like on Friends, they'll talk about this is a phenomenon show, Friends. Last week we had 23 million viewers. That's how big we are. We had 40 million viewers every week on the Partridge Family.
That was a bad week.
That was a bad week. There were 3 channels. We were your only, it was us or Mannix. You know what I mean? Whatever it was going to be. People forget that. I mean, it was just gigantic. You asked me about a specific question. I forget what it was.
I just lost it.
Yeah, me too.
What did I ask him?
Okay.
See, I'm on the same page as you.
Good. Perfect.
I Think I Love You became a hit.
Oh, thanks. All right, so I was really surprised that I Think I Love You became a hit because I hated it. And I didn't know this at the time, and I still don't completely understand it. I have no musical skills at all. But I believe David Cassidy said, it's a tango. I don't know what I'm up against. I don't know what it's all about. So I can see that he's right, but it's awful. But there were, I'll Meet You Halfway was a great song. I loved that song. Echo Valley 26809 was pretty stupid. Who puts a phone number in a song?
865,000.
Well, that's right. Jenny, who can I turn to? That's true. Okay. My wife used to give out that phone number when guys would ask for her phone number. The phone number is Jenny. But I wish I could remember more of the names of the songs because some of them were wonderful. Somebody gave me the Partridge Family's greatest hits as a gag within the last couple of years. And I played it so my daughter could hear it. Even though I don't sing or play on it, but my picture's on it and that's good enough for her. And I couldn't believe how good some of the songs, some of those songs were wonderful.
Who wrote those songs? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know.
Was Kirshner involved with the Partridge Family?
I don't believe so, but I really wouldn't know.
I was talking to him. I interviewed Mickey Dolenz yesterday. It was great.
How's Mickey? Is Mickey holding up?
He's really good. He's really funny.
I don't know if he still is, but I didn't know this till years later, because when somebody's in the position that I am in, or that the monkeys are in, I always worry about their finances. Because being famous and broke sucks. It's a terrible combination. When I was a busboy and still really famous, it was awful. It was, just so embarrassing. Do you know Mickey's family owns most of Sunset Boulevard? Or did, unless he had to sell it. I remember something about Carlos and Charlie's, and somebody said, Mickey Dolenz owns that property, and that property, and that property. I couldn't believe it.
How about Mike Nesmith?
Whose mom and dad's whiteout, or liquid paper, either one.
Yeah, that's screwed up when computers came around, It's like you get all these people putting little whiteout on their screen.
Nice.
Whole genre of phone songs. Point me in the direction of Albuquerque. Yeah, that was a pretty good song.
I didn't like that song either.
Really?
Yeah. Point me in the direction of Albuquerque. No, that one didn't work for me. First of all, who wants to be pointed in the direction of Albuquerque? No offense to the people of Albuquerque, but you don't even go there.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, that's true. But we don't even arrive. We just get pointed in the direction. It's like, what about the end of the song? We should have probably been in Albuquerque by then.
Did you guys ever get to improvise on the show? Or probably not.
No, sometimes we would improvise on the show, mostly when Dave Madden was around. But Dave had to stay kind of in check, because he'd get on a roll and it'd be really funny, but then he'd be the star of the scene, and what was happening with David Cassidy, Shirley Jones, Susan Day. So he salt and peppered it, if you will. But he did some good improv. And the rest of us would try it every now and again and either sink or swim. Nobody took big shots on the Partridge Family. We did our jobs.
Right. Well, it's one of the last of the single camera shows for a very long time. Do you remember sort of what that period was like? I mean, there was a lot of other shows. I'm guessing you didn't watch a lot of other TV or didn't have a whole lot of time for it.
I don't know. If you'll tell me what was on, I'll tell you if I saw it. I was not a big Brady Bunch fan. I didn't care about the story of the three lovely girls or whatever it was. I have since become a fan of the Brady Bunch in a way. Christopher Knight has a reality show on the same network I do, and I beat the bejesus out of Greg Brady in celebrity boxing, and that was just a good time. I mean, I'm sorry, but who didn't want to punch a Brady right in the face? And I got to.
You've had quite a career since the Partridge.
Yeah, I've been busy, man.
And I read your book, by the way, even before I knew I was going to interview you.
Thank you.
I actually bought it. So
Wow.
if I would have known, because we scheduled it at the last minute, if I would have known you were going to be here, I would have brought it for signing.
Well, thank you.
But,
I hope you enjoyed it.
I did. Well, I discovered over the years that you know how to take pain very well.
Yes, I do.
You've learned how to take pain in a lot of good
You wouldn't believe once you actually have not mastered that, but learned how to do it, it comes in handy. If you don't do it, I'll bet I wouldn't get hurt. You know, it's like, oh, I can take this. Let me try. And anybody else would go, well, that is going to hurt. I'm not going to do it.
You do your own stunts in real life.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all the time we've got for today. Next time, the conclusion of my conversation with Dann Bonaduce. See you then.